What would you do with an extra $5,000 every month? Pay off debt? Quit your soul-crushing job? Take that trip you've been dreaming about for years? In this video, I'm breaking down how I went from making $0 in side income to generating $5,000 monthly through digital products, all while working my 9-to-5. No crypto gambling, no real estate flipping, no MLM schemes. Just real skills you already have turned into automated income streams. Financial reality check, my breaking point. Would you believe I once had just $143 in my checking account with rent due in 3 days? That's not an exaggeration or a clickbait number. That was my actual reality. I remember staring at my phone screen, refreshing the banking app over and over, hoping somehow the numbers would magically change. They didn't. Let me paint you the complete picture of my financial situation back then. I was making $32,000 a year at a job that was slowly crushing my soul. After taxes, that translated to about $2,100 a month hitting my bank account. Sounds workable until you break down where every dollar was going. My rent for a tiny one-bedroom apartment was $1,200, already more than half my monthly income gone. Add in $350 for utilities and internet, $300 for groceries, $200 for gas and car insurance, and $400 minimum payments on my credit cards. Do the math. That's $2,450 right there. I was literally spending more than I made every single month. The credit card situation was particularly brutal. I had racked up $11,000 across 3 different cards. The interest rates? A jaw-dropping 24.99% on my highest card. Every month, I'd make the minimum payment, and the next statement would show I'd barely made a dent a print in the principal. It felt like throwing money into a black hole. Then there were my student loans, another $28,000 hanging over my head. I had them on an income-based repayment plan, which helped keep the monthly payments manageable at $180, but the balance wasn't going down. The interest was just quietly accumulating in the background like a ticking time bomb. The emotional weight of all this was crushing. I'd wake up in the middle of the night, heart racing, thinking about money. What if my car broke down? What if I got sick and couldn't work? There was no safety net, no emergency fund, no family I could borrow from, nothing. Every unexpected expense meant another charge on the credit card, digging the hole deeper. I kept a budget spreadsheet that I'd update religiously every Friday. The numbers never changed, income column always the same, expense column always higher. I'd try to find places to cut back, but there wasn't exactly fat to trim. I wasn't living extravagantly, no vacations, no new clothes, no eating out. I was already living on ramen and peanut butter sandwiches half the time. Inflation was making everything worse. I remember going to the grocery store one week and picking up my usual items. Nothing fancy, just the basics. And the total came to $20 more than the previous week. $20 might not sound like much, but when you're counting every penny, it's devastating. Gas prices were climbing too, making my commute more expensive every month. The breaking point came on a Wednesday evening in April. I had just paid my phone bill, $85 that I really couldn't spare, and checked my balance afterward, $143.27. Rent was due on Saturday, $1,200 that I absolutely did not have. My next paycheck wasn't until the following Friday. I felt this cold wave of panic wash over me, followed by something I hadn't felt before, raw determination. I still remember sitting on my apartment floor, surrounded by credit card statements, each one showing the same depressing story. The minimum payments I was making weren't even covering the interest. One statement showed I'd paid $400 that month, and my balance had gone down by only $40. The other $360? Straight to interest. It was like trying to empty the ocean with a teaspoon. The most soul-crushing part was realizing I was actually going backward financially. Despite working 40-plus hours a week at a job that drained me, I was ending each month with less than I started with. My net worth was negative and getting more negative each month. The math simply didn't work. I wish I could tell you I had some grand epiphany in that moment, but the truth is more mundane. I was just tired. Tired of being stressed, tired of checking my account balance before buying groceries, tired of saying no to every social invitation because I couldn't afford a $15 dinner out. That night, I stayed up until 3 a.m., not just wallowing, but actively searching for a way out. I started asking myself questions I'd never seriously considered before. What skills do I have that people might pay for? What do I know how to do that others find valuable? What could I create once and sell multiple times? I had always assumed my skills were ordinary, nothing special. I used Excel every day at work, building spreadsheets and running reports. It was just part of my job, something I'd learned out of necessity. I never considered it a valuable skill, until that night, when desperation forced me to look at myself through a different lens. My financial situation at that point was as clear as it was dire. $32K salary, $143 in checking, $11K in credit card debt, $28K in student loans, and zero savings. I was one unexpected expense away from complete financial disaster. Something had to change, and that something had to be me. It wasn't just about making more money anymore. The realization hit me like a ton of bricks. Trading time for money would never get me ahead. The traditional path, work harder, get promoted, make slightly more money, was too slow. I needed to separate my income from my time. I needed to create assets that could generate money whether I was actively working or not. The hidden gold mine, discovering my marketable skills. With my back against the wall financially, I had to get real about what I could actually offer the marketplace. Trading time for money wasn't going to cut it. But what skills did I already have that people would actually pay for? While everyone's searching for some magical new skill to learn, I discovered that the most profitable opportunity was hiding in plain sight on my work computer all along. When I started brainstorming monetizable skills, I felt completely lost. I wasn't a programmer who could build fancy apps. I wasn't a graphic designer who could create stunning visuals. And I definitely wasn't a marketing guru with insider knowledge on growing businesses. I was just me, a regular office worker with seemingly ordinary skills. I kept thinking, what do I know that's actually valuable? It's funny how we dismiss our own abilities because they seem common or easy to us. That's exactly what happened with my Excel skills. I'd been using Excel daily for years, building reports, organizing data, and creating formulas to make my work easier. But because it felt routine to me, I completely overlooked its value. Nobody would pay for something so basic, I thought. Everyone knows Excel, right? Wrong. So incredibly wrong. To get clarity, I created what I call a skill inventory exercise. It was simple but eye-opening. I listed every single skill I could think of, from communication to organization to specific software knowledge, and rated my proficiency from 1 to 10. I included everything, even skills that seemed too ordinary to mention. When I reviewed my list, something stood out. While I rated myself a modest 7-10 in Excel, I knew I wasn't an absolute expert. It was actually one of my highest-rated technical skills. Yet, I had almost dismissed it entirely because it seemed too commonplace. Curious, I started researching if Excel skills were actually in demand. What I discovered blew my mind. Excel is used by approximately 1.2 billion people worldwide, yet the vast majority only scratch the surface of its capabilities. This gap between basic users and true experts creates an enormous opportunity. I dug deeper, searching freelance platforms and job boards. The results were eye-opening. Post after post requested Excel specialists, with many offering between $25 to $150 per hour, depending on the complexity of the task. Some businesses needed custom dashboards built, others wanted automated reporting systems, and many simply needed someone to fix spreadsheets that had become too complicated for their staff to manage. The more I researched, the more excited I became. I found that specific Excel skills were particularly valuable in the marketplace. Advanced functions like pivot tables, which I used all the time, were frequently mentioned. VLOOKUP, which I had mastered years ago to make my own job easier, was specifically listed in countless job descriptions. And knowledge of macros and VBA, which I had basic experience with, commanded the highest rates of all. It was like discovering I'd been sitting on a gold mine without realizing it. The skills I used every day at my job, the ones I took for granted, could potentially earn me $50, $100, even $150 per hour on the side. But the real question remained, would people actually pay me for these skills? Having market research is one thing, But getting real customers to open their wallets is another challenge entirely. I needed to test my theory. If Excel sales skills were truly valuable, I needed to find out if I could market myself successfully with zero portfolio and zero testimonials. I needed to discover if the skills I'd been using every day at my underpaying job could actually become my ticket to financial freedom. What fascinated me most was how the market valued different Excel skills. Creating custom Excel templates was highly sought after. Data visualization, turning boring numbers into meaningful charts and graphs, commanded premium rates. And automation using macros and VBA was like finding the holy grail for businesses drowning in repetitive tasks. I realized I could potentially offer all these services. But beyond freelancing, I discovered another avenue that really captured my attention: digital products. Excel experts were creating and selling guides, templates, and even full courses online. These weren't just one-off payments from clients. They were assets that could generate income repeatedly from the same work. The more I learned, the more I understood that the question wasn't whether my Excel skills were valuable. They absolutely were. The real question was how to best package and present those skills to the marketplace. So how exactly did I discover which of my skills were actually worth money? It wasn't some flash of genius or lucky break. It was methodical, creating a detailed skill inventory, honestly assessing my capabilities, and then thoroughly researching market demand. I had to separate my perception of value. This is too basic to be worth anything, from the market's perception of value. We'll pay good money to someone who can solve this specific problem. And as it turned out, the market was willing to pay surprising amounts for skills I'd been using without a second thought. Skills that came so naturally to me that I discounted their worth entirely. First client breakthrough, from free to fee. Having skills that theoretically bring value is one thing, but convincing someone to actually open their wallet is where most side hustles die before they begin. I vividly remember staring at my screen, hands literally shaking, as I typed my very first price quote. Was I charging way too much? Embarrassingly too little? Without any testimonials or portfolio to back me up, how could I possibly convince someone I was worth paying? After realizing my Excel skills had market value, I needed a strategy to find people who would actually pay for them. The biggest obstacle? I had zero clients, zero testimonials, and zero proof I could deliver results. So I took a different approach that most new side hustlers completely overlook. Instead of creating a fancy website or spending money on ads, I went where my potential clients already hung out. Facebook groups focused on small business owners and entrepreneurs. These weren't Excel-specific groups. They were filled with people who needed Excel solutions but didn't necessarily know it yet. My strategy was simple but required patience. Every day, I'd spend 30 minutes scanning through these groups for posts where people mentioned struggling with tracking finances, managing inventory, or organizing customer data. When I found these posts, I'd offer quick, helpful solutions completely free of charge. Just created a simple formula that might help with that inventory tracking issue. Happy to explain how it works if you're interested. The first week was discouraging. I spent hours crafting thoughtful responses to people's problems, sharing tips, and even creating mini tutorials, all without a single penny in return. Some days I questioned if I was wasting my time, especially when only a handful of people even acknowledged my help. But I kept showing up consistently, focusing on providing genuine value without any expectation of payment. I wasn't just throwing generic advice around. I was taking time to understand their specific problems and tailoring solutions to their needs. Then came the breakthrough I'd been waiting for. After helping someone in a small business group troubleshoot a pricing spreadsheet they were struggling with, I received a private message that changed everything. This is exactly what I needed. Would you be able to build a custom version for my business? My heart raced as I read those words. This wasn't just someone appreciating free advice. This was someone actually considering paying me for my skills. We jumped on a quick call where they explained their business needs in more detail. They needed a comprehensive inventory tracking system that could also generate purchase orders automatically. When the dreaded question finally came, So how much would you charge for something like this? I nearly froze. I had done zero preparation for this moment. Should I charge by the hour? By the project? What was the market rate for someone with my experience level? In that moment, I remembered seeing freelancers with similar Excel skills charging between $15 to $30 per hour. With my limited experience, I figured I should be at the lower end of that range, but I was terrified of scaring them away with a price that seemed too high. After what felt like an eternity of awkward silence, but was probably only 5 seconds, I nervously quoted $50 for the entire project. I immediately regretted not charging hourly instead, convinced I'd just committed to hours upon hours of work for minimal pay. To my surprise, they responded immediately. That sounds very reasonable. When can you have it ready? I spent that evening building what I thought would be a complex, time-consuming spreadsheet. But leveraging the skills I'd been using daily in my job, I finished the entire project in just 30 minutes. 30 minutes of work for $50. That's $100 per hour, more than triple what I made at my day job. The client was thrilled with the result, even saying they expected to pay much more for work of that quality. That single comment made me realize I had severely underpriced my services. A common mistake among new freelancers worried about scaring away potential clients. This first project taught me something crucial about pricing psychology. When you're just starting out, there's a natural tendency to undercharge out of fear. You worry that no one will pay expert rates for someone without testimonials or a track record. But underpricing can actually work against you in 2 ways. It can signal low quality to potential clients, and it can make your business financially unsustainable. Within days, my first client referred me to 2 of their business contacts who also needed Excel help. For these projects, I tested a slightly higher rate, $75 per project, and again received no pushback. With each new client, I gradually increased my rates, eventually settling on a value-based pricing approach rather than simply charging by the hour. What made this approach successful wasn't just offering free help. It was strategically positioning myself in communities where my target clients already gathered. By focusing on niche groups of business owners rather than general Excel forums, I was putting myself directly in front of people who had both the problems I could solve and the budget to pay for solutions. Each time I helped someone for free, I was actually building a micro-portfolio visible to everyone in the group. Every comment showcased my expertise, communication style, and problem-solving ability. This public demonstration of value did what no resume or portfolio site could have accomplished for someone with no formal freelancing experience. Within a month of landing my first client, I had completed 7 paid projects ranging from $50 to $120 each. Not life-changing money, but enough to make a meaningful difference in my financial situation and prove that my skills had real market value. The most surprising discovery wasn't just that people would pay for Excel help. It was how they responded when receiving a solution that eliminated hours of frustration from their work week. I wasn't just selling spreadsheets. I was selling relief from tedious tasks, confidence in their business data, and hours of reclaimed time. I started tracking exactly which types of Excel solutions generated the most enthusiastic responses and highest willingness to pay. Anything that automated repetitive tasks or provided visual clarity to complex data consistently commanded higher rates and more referrals. The digital product pivot, scaling beyond hourly work. While those client wins felt amazing, a sobering reality was setting in. I was trading hours for dollars, with a clear ceiling on my yacht to potential income. What if there was a way to help hundreds of people simultaneously, instead of just one client at a time? My inbox was overflowing with requests from new clients who needed Excel help. On paper, this looked like success, but the math told a different story. Even at $50 per hour, there's only so much money you can make when you're limited by the 24 hours in a day. And with a full-time job already eating 40 plus of those hours, I was quickly approaching a wall. I remember sitting at my kitchen table one Sunday night, looking at my calendar completely booked with client work for the next 3 weeks. That's when it hit me. I was just creating a second job for myself. Sure, it paid well hourly, but I was still directly trading my limited time for money. If I got sick, went on vacation, or simply needed a break, the money would stop immediately. This realization sent me down a research rabbit hole. I started investigating how other Excel experts were making money without being chained to hourly client work. What I discovered completely changed my trajectory. Digital products. The concept was simple but powerful. Create something valuable once, then sell it infinitely to customers around the world, 24/7, even while you sleep. The e-learning industry, which includes digital products like online courses, is projected to reach a staggering $840 billion by 2030. And within this massive market, Excel templates are particularly in demand because they save users time and provide professional-looking results without the learning curve. But I was skeptical at first. Would people really pay for Excel templates they could theoretically create themselves? It seemed counterintuitive. After all, if someone needed an Excel solution, wouldn't they just hire a freelancer like me to create a custom one? To answer this question, I needed to understand the market better. I spent 2 weeks conducting intensive market research, examining everything I could find about successful digital product creators in the Excel space. I discovered something fascinating. Successful creators weren't selling complicated, custom solutions. They were selling simplicity, time savings, and peace of mind. A business owner might technically be capable of creating their own expense tracker, but why spend 10 hours figuring it out when they could pay $29 for a professionally designed template that works immediately? The market data backed this up. The digital product market is projected to reach $38.2 billion by 2027, showing enormous growth potential. And within this space, specific Excel products consistently rose to the top in terms of sales volume. Budget trackers, project management templates, and business dashboards were particularly hot sellers. What really caught my attention was how the income math worked for digital products versus freelancing. Let's say I create a budget template that takes me 20 hours to perfect. As a freelancer, I'd charge perhaps $1,000 for that custom work, and that's it. Transaction complete. But as a digital product, I could sell that same template for $29 to potentially thousands of customers. After just 35 sales, I'd match my freelance rate, and everything after that would be profit with almost zero additional time investment. Many successful digital product creators had followed exactly this path, transitioning from service-based businesses by leveraging their existing skills to create products that addressed specific customer needs, generating what many call passive income, though I'd learn later there's nothing truly passive about building a successful product business. I dove deeper into researching what made certain Excel templates more successful than others. The highest performing products weren't just technically sound, they solved very specific pain points. A small business financial dashboard that helped owners instantly see cash flow trends. A project timeline tracker that automatically calculated if a project was on schedule. An inventory management system that alerted when stock was running low. These weren't just technical Excel files. They were solutions to real business problems that caused actual stress in people's lives. The more specific the problem and clearer the solution, the more people seemed willing to pay. My research also revealed something counterintuitive about pricing. Many successful creators weren't racing to the bottom with $5 products. Quality templates that truly solved painful problems were selling for $19, $49, even $99 in some specialized niches. The key wasn't being the cheapest option. It was providing clear, specific value that justified the price. I started mapping out ideas for my own digital products, focusing on the Excel solutions that had generated the most enthusiasm from my freelance clients. Budget trackers were an obvious starting point. Everyone struggles with managing money. Project management templates also seemed promising, especially for small business owners who couldn't afford expensive software. And business dashboards that visualized complex data clearly consistently commanded premium prices in my research. The potential was clear. If I could create templates that genuinely helped people, I could potentially help hundreds or thousands of customers simultaneously, not just the one client I could squeeze into my calendar that week. This was the scalable solution I'd been looking for. I couldn't ignore the financial comparison either. the average earnings from digital products can significantly surpass hourly freelance work. Once created, digital products can be sold to an unlimited number of customers, leading to higher overall income potential without the one-to-one time limitation. Armed with this knowledge, I was ready to create my first digital product. I decided to start with what I knew best: a comprehensive personal budget template with all the bells and whistles. I poured everything I knew about Excel into this creation, determined to make it the most feature-rich budget template available. I worked on it for nearly a month, adding multiple sheets, complex formulas, conditional formatting, and even macros to automate repetitive tasks. It was, technically speaking, a masterpiece. The kind of solution that would have cost a freelance client hundreds of dollars for me to create custom. I was convinced people would line up to buy it. All the market research pointed to budget templates being top sellers. I had the skills to create something technically impressive. And most importantly, I understood what made a good financial tracking system from my own financial journey. With excitement and more than a little nervousness, I finalized my first digital product and prepared to release it to the world. First product failure: learning what doesn't work. That valuable lesson I mentioned? It came in the form of a humbling $0 launch. After spending 30 days meticulously crafting what I thought was the ultimate Excel budget template, the market responded with absolute silence. And it wasn't for lack of visitors. Over 200 potential customers viewed my product page, yet not a single person reached for their wallet. I had approached my first digital product with almost obsessive attention to detail. My budget template featured 15 separate sheets, each with intricate formulas and conditional formatting. I'd included tabs for expense tracking, income projection, debt paydown calculators, investment forecasting, and even custom visualization dashboards that automatically generated charts based on spending patterns. In my mind, this was the Ferrari of budget templates, a comprehensive financial command center that could solve virtually any money management problem. I spent over 30 hours creating this masterpiece, fine-tuning every formula, triple-checking every calculation, and adding layer upon layer of functionality. I even included a detailed instruction manual explaining how each component worked. The way I saw it, this product demonstrated my Excel expertise and would surely impress potential buyers with its sophistication. When it came time to price it, I settled on $49.99, which honestly felt like a bargain given the amount of work I'd put in. After all, if someone hired me to create this custom, it would cost hundreds at my hourly rate. I thought customers would see the value immediately. My launch strategy seemed solid enough. I posted about my product in several Excel-focused Facebook groups where I'd been helping people for free. I created a simple landing page highlighting all the amazing features and functionality. I even reached out to my freelance clients, offering them a special discount as thanks for their business. Then I sat back and waited for the sales notifications to roll in, and waited and waited. After a week with 0 sales, I started checking my analytics. People were visiting the page, dozens at first, then over 100, eventually more than 200 visitors, but nobody was buying. The conversion rate was a perfect 0%. My technically perfect product was a complete market failure. I was genuinely confused. How could something so comprehensive, something I'd poured so much expertise into, generate absolutely no interest? Rather than give up, I decided to get answers. I reached out to several people who had viewed my product page but hadn't purchased. Some were past clients, others were connections from the Excel communities I participated in. I asked them directly, what held them back from buying? Their feedback was eye-opening. It looks impressive, but honestly, it seems too complicated for what I need. I couldn't tell if this would actually help with my specific budgeting problem. There were so many features that I got overwhelmed trying to figure out if it was right for me. I just need something simple to track my monthly expenses. But your product seemed to do everything under the sun. The pattern in their responses was clear. My product was suffering from complexity overload. I had created something that attempted to solve too many financial problems at once, which paradoxically made it solve none of them effectively for any specific customer. One particularly honest response cut to the core of the issue. Your product looks like it was designed to show off Excel skills rather than to make budgeting easier for someone like me. Ouch. That hurt, because it was true. I had been so focused on demonstrating my technical expertise that I'd lost sight of what customers actually wanted: simple solutions to specific problems. This feedback led me to conduct deeper market research. I studied successful digital products in my niche and noticed something striking. The best sellers weren't the most feature-rich or technically complex. Instead, they focused on solving one specific pain point extremely well. Their landing pages weren't listing dozens of features. They were clearly communicating how the product solved a specific problem. My complex budget template had failed for 3 key reasons. First, it tried to solve too many problems at once, creating confusion rather than clarity. Second, its complexity intimidated potential customers rather than impressing them. And third, I hadn't targeted a specific audience with a specific problem. I was trying to appeal to everyone and ended up connecting with no one. A fascinating case study came to mind from my research. A product creator who initially launched a comprehensive financial planning spreadsheet that flopped. When they restructured the same core functionality into 5 separate, simpler products, each targeting a specific financial challenge, sales took off. The combined revenue from these simplified products far exceeded what the complex all-in-one version could have generated. The market was telling me something important. In the digital product world, complexity isn't a virtue. It's often a liability. What customers valued wasn't how many features a product had, but how easily and effectively it solved their specific problem. I also learned that gathering customer feedback on unsuccessful products isn't just helpful, it's essential for improvement. By reaching out to potential customers who viewed but didn't purchase, I gained invaluable insights that no amount of technical expertise could have provided. Another important lesson emerged from the experience: user experience trumps technical sophistication. A product that's easy to navigate and provides a clear value proposition will outperform a feature-rich but confusing alternative almost every time. This failure was humbling, but it proved to be the most valuable lesson in my business journey. It forced me to rethink everything about my approach to creating digital products. I realized that my technical skills in Excel weren't the issue. My understanding of what makes a product actually sellable was the problem. I had been creating what I thought was impressive rather than what customers actually needed. The market doesn't reward complexity for complexity's sake. It rewards solutions that make people's lives easier in specific, tangible ways. My elaborate Excel masterpiece had failed, not because it wasn't good enough technically, but because it was trying to be too much all at once. The very complexity I was so proud of was actually driving customers away rather than attracting them. The winning formula: creating products people actually buy. The market rejection of my complex spreadsheet masterpiece was a wake-up call that completely transformed my approach to product creation. Instead of creating what impressed other Excel experts, I needed to focus on what actually solved real problems for real people. Have you ever noticed that the digital products you use most frequently are often the simplest ones? There's a profound psychology behind this that I completely missed in my first attempt. The $6.62 trillion digital product market isn't rewarding feature-packed products, it's rewarding solutions that eliminate specific pain points with minimal friction. After poring through customer feedback and studying successful digital products, I identified 3 principles that would guide my next creation: simplicity, specificity, and solving one clear problem. This was the complete opposite of my 15-sheet monster spreadsheet that tried to solve every financial challenge imaginable. I went back to the drawing board with a fresh mindset. Instead of asking, how can I showcase my Excel skills, I started asking, what specific problems are causing people the most frustration? This shift in perspective changed everything. My research led me to identify 3 distinct pain points that appeared repeatedly in online communities: small business owners struggling to track expenses efficiently, project managers needing better timeline visualization, and individuals feeling overwhelmed by debt repayment strategies. For each problem, I created a targeted, streamlined solution. The small business expense tracker included just 3 main sheets with automated categorization and tax preparation features. The project timeline template provided visual clarity with color-coded milestone tracking. And the debt payoff calculator offered a simple interface to compare different repayment strategies with motivational progress trackers. Gone were the complex macros and nested formulas that made my first product intimidating. Instead, I focused on intuitive design and clear instructions. Each product solved exactly one problem exceptionally well rather than attempting to be an all-in-one solution. The pricing strategy was my next challenge. Value-based pricing made the most sense after researching the market. This approach focuses on the perceived value to the customer, rather than just covering production costs. I estimated that my expense tracker could save a small business owner about 3 hours of work each month, time worth at least $75 at minimum wage. This justified a higher price point than simply calculating my time investment. I decided to experiment with 3 different price points across my products: the expense tracker at $29.99, the project timeline at $19.99, and the debt payoff calculator at $9.99. My hypothesis was that the business tool would support a higher price point since it addressed a commercial need with clear ROI. I also implemented something I hadn't considered before: tiered pricing. For each product, I created a basic version and a premium version with additional features. For example, the basic expense tracker handled the essentials, while the premium version at $39.99 included quarterly tax estimation tools and customizable categories. The launch results were illuminating. In the first week, the expense tracker sold 5 copies, 3 basic, 2 premium. The project timeline template sold 12 copies, 10 basic, 2 premium, and the debt payoff calculator sold just 3 copies, all basic version. The project timeline template at $19.99 was the clear winner in terms of volume, while the expense tracker generated slightly more revenue due to its higher price point. The debt payoff calculator underperformed despite having the lowest price, teaching me that price isn't always the determining factor in purchase decisions. This contradicted my initial assumption that lower prices would automatically lead to more sales. The data suggested that perceived value and urgent need were more important than price sensitivity in my target market. I dug deeper into the analytics and discovered something fascinating. The conversion rate for the project timeline template was nearly double that of the other products. Through follow-up surveys, I learned that project management deadlines create immediate stress that demands quick solutions, while expense tracking and debt management feel less urgent despite being important. Another key insight emerged when I examined which traffic sources converted best. Visitors who came from project management forums converted at 8.2% compared to 3.1% from general Excel communities. This reinforced the importance of targeting specific pain points within clearly defined audience segments. Armed with these insights, I refined my approach further. I created variations of the project timeline template for different industries: construction, marketing, product development, and event planning. Each variant addressed the specific terminology and workflow challenges of that industry while maintaining the same core functionality. The specialized templates performed even better than the generic version, despite commanding a slightly higher price point. Construction project managers were willing to pay $24.99 for a template specifically designed for their workflow, compared to $19.99 for the generic version. I also experimented with bundling products. Offering the basic and premium versions together at a slight discount increased the average order value without cannibalizing individual sales. The most successful bundle combined the expense tracker with industry-specific tax guidance PDFs, demonstrating that complementary products can create higher perceived value. To further reduce purchasing friction, I implemented a 30-day money-back guarantee. This significantly boosted conversion rates by reducing the perceived risk for customers. Surprisingly, my refund rate remained below 3%, much lower than I had feared. The freemium model also proved effective when I created a simplified version of the debt payoff calculator as a lead magnet. By offering this limited tool for free, I was able to build an email list of people specifically interested in financial products. which became a valuable marketing channel for future launches. These early successes taught me that effective digital products don't need to be comprehensive or technically complex. They need to solve a specific problem in the simplest possible way, be priced according to the value they deliver, rather than the effort required to create them, and be marketed directly to the people experiencing that specific pain point. The transformation in my approach was dramatic. My first product took 30 hours to create and made dollars. My second round of products took about 15 hours total to create and generated nearly $500 in the first week. By focusing on solving specific problems for defined audiences, I had finally discovered the formula for creating products people actually wanted to buy. The growth system, from side hustle to serious income. After generating $500 in my first week with targeted digital products, I faced the ultimate entrepreneurial paradox. Success was creating more work than I could handle while maintaining my day job. The business world is filled with burned-out side hustlers who never broke through, but I discovered a shocking 20 to 40% efficiency gain was hiding in plain sight, if you know exactly where to look. My early success created an unexpected problem. Orders were coming in, customers had questions, and I needed to create more products to maintain momentum. But with a full-time job consuming my best hours and energy, I felt pulled in too many directions. Evenings were spent answering customer emails, weekends disappeared into product creation, and I started feeling the early signs of burnout, just as things were taking off. Something had to change. I couldn't quit my job yet. The digital product income wasn't consistent enough. But I couldn't continue working around the clock either. The solution wasn't working harder. It was working smarter through a structured system that maximized every minute of my limited free time. I developed what I call the 5-hour framework, a strict weekly schedule that transformed my scattered approach into a precision operation. Here's how I allocated those precious 5 hours each week. First, I dedicated 2 hours specifically to product creation. This wasn't random tinkering. I focused exclusively on expanding my most successful templates for different industries. When my project timeline templates sold well to construction managers, I created variations for event planners, marketing campaigns, and software development teams. Each new version required minimal adjustments, but opened entirely new customer segments. The next 2 hours went strictly to marketing efforts. Instead of randomly posting in forums or groups, I tracked which channels brought the highest conversion rates and doubled down on those. Project management communities consistently outperformed general Excel groups, so I concentrated my time where it mattered most. The final hour was reserved for customer support and feedback collection. This proved invaluable, not just for maintaining satisfied customers, but for gathering intelligence about what they wanted next. When 3 different customers asked if my expense tracker could generate quarterly tax reports, I knew exactly what feature to add to the premium version. Implementing this strict time allocation was challenging at first. I had to fight the urge to check email constantly or work on products outside my designated hours. But once I embraced the structure, the results were remarkable. My productivity during those focused sessions increased dramatically compared to my previous scattered approach. Customer feedback became the cornerstone of my product development strategy. Instead of guessing what features to add, I simply listened to what people were asking for. When multiple customers from the same industry requested similar customizations, I knew I had discovered a new market segment hungry for specialized solutions. One surprising discovery was how valuable content creation became as both a marketing tool and product research method. I started writing highly specific Excel tutorials, not general guides, but solutions to very particular problems my target audience faced. For example, how to create a cash flow forecast for seasonal businesses, or project timeline visualization techniques for client presentations. These tutorials served dual purposes. They provided genuine value while subtly promoting my products. At the end of each guide, I'd mention, if you'd rather save time, my template handles this automatically, with a link to the relevant product. This content-first approach built trust and positioned me as a helpful expert rather than just a seller. The digital product market opportunity is enormous, projected to reach $12.93 trillion by 2029. But what made the difference for me wasn't market size but methodical execution. By allocating specific time blocks to high-impact activities, I maintained forward momentum without burning out. Most side hustlers fail because they lack this systematic approach. They work reactively, responding to whatever seems most urgent in the moment, rather than strategically advancing their business. According to research, businesses implementing digital process automation can gain 20 to 40% in efficiency, a statistic I found to be absolutely true in my own experience. Setting clear goals for each work session transformed how I used my limited time. Monday nights were product development, Wednesday nights were marketing, and Sunday mornings were for customer support and planning the week ahead. This predictable rhythm allowed me to prepare mentally for each type of work, rather than context switching constantly. Time tracking became essential for maintaining discipline. I used a simple timer to ensure I stayed focused during my designated work blocks. When the timer started, all distractions went away. No social media, no text messages, no TV in the background. This level of focus allowed me to accomplish in 2 hours what previously took me twice as long. Perhaps the most valuable lesson was learning to prioritize ruthlessly. Every Sunday, I'd identify the one product improvement and one marketing activity that would move the needle most significantly, then focus exclusively on those high-leverage tasks. This prevented the common side hustler trap of spreading yourself too thin across too many initiatives. The results spoke for themselves. Within 2 months of implementing this structured approach, my monthly revenue doubled from $500 to over $1,000. The most fascinating part? I was working fewer total hours but making more money because every minute was strategically allocated to high-impact activities. As my product catalog grew, I discovered another efficiency gain: repurposing core components across multiple products. The calculation engine from my debt payoff calculator became the foundation for my investment growth calculator. The formatting system from my expense tracker powered my inventory management template. This modular approach dramatically reduced development time for new products. Customer communication revealed another opportunity: tiered pricing. Many customers wanted customizations or additional features, so I began offering standard and premium versions of my most popular products. The premium versions included industry-specific features and generated 40% higher revenue per sale with minimal additional development time. Content creation became increasingly powerful as my library of tutorials grew. Each piece of content continued working for me 24/7, driving organic traffic and sales even when I wasn't actively marketing. This flywheel effect is what separates successful digital product creators from those who remain stuck trading time for money. Many side hustlers fail because they never develop systems that allow them to scale beyond their personal time constraints. The key insight for me was recognizing that success didn't require working more hours. It required working the right hours on the right tasks in the right sequence. After 4 months of following this structured approach, my monthly income exceeded $2,000, all from just 20 hours of work per month. I maintained my full-time job, but now had compelling evidence that my digital product business could eventually replace that income entirely. The psychological impact was profound, knowing I had built something that generated income even when I wasn't
handling pushback, when others don't want to talk money. You've mastered all those perfect conversation starters, your timing is impeccable, and you're feeling confident about initiating that money talk. Then it happens, your partner, parent, or friend puts up their hand and says, "I really don't want to discuss this right now." That wall of resistance can feel like a dead end, but financial therapists have discovered it's actually where the most meaningful money conversations begin, if you know how to respond in those crucial moments. When someone shuts down a financial conversation, it's rarely about the money itself. Behind that resistance lies a complex web of emotions. Money discussions trigger deep-seated feelings of vulnerability, exposing our values, mistakes, and insecurities. This emotional dimension explains why even the most carefully crafted conversation starters sometimes hit unexpected roadblocks. Understanding why someone resists talking about money is the first step to breaking through. Financial topics often trigger shame responses that feel physically uncomfortable. When your colleague changes the subject after you mention retirement planning, or your partner suddenly remembers an urgent task when you bring up the credit card bill, they're likely protecting themselves from emotional discomfort rather than deliberately stonewalling you. The way you respond to this initial resistance can either permanently derail the conversation or transform it into something productive. Pushing too hard by saying things like, "We need to talk about this now," or "Why are you always avoiding important conversations?" only reinforces the other person's defensive position. Similarly, immediately backing down with "Okay, never mind then," misses an opportunity for connection and problem solving. Instead, wealth psychology expert Kathleen Burns-Kingsbury recommends a 3-step framework that transforms resistance into engagement. This approach has helped countless families and couples navigate financial discussions that initially seemed impossible. Step 1. Acknowledge their discomfort without judgment. When someone expresses reluctance to discuss money, start by validating their feelings. Try saying something like, "I can see this topic makes you uncomfortable, and that's completely understandable." This simple acknowledgement helps the other person feel seen rather than criticized, creating psychological safety that's essential for difficult conversations. This validation works because it frames money as a challenging topic for everyone, not just a personal failing on their part. When we recognize that financial discomfort is a universal experience, we remove the element of judgment that often fuels resistance. Step 2. Share your own vulnerability. After acknowledging their discomfort, briefly share your own experience with money conversations. This might sound like, "I actually feel nervous bringing this up too. Money discussions weren't common in my family, and I'm still learning how to have them effectively." By positioning yourself as a fellow traveler rather than an authority figure, you create a sense of collaboration that makes the conversation feel less threatening. Your personal disclosure serves as a bridge, demonstrating that you're not approaching the conversation from a position of superiority, but as someone who also finds these discussions challenging. This shifts the dynamic from confrontation to connection. Step 3. Ask an open-ended question that gives them some control over the process. Rather than pushing your original agenda, try something like, "What would make this conversation feel more comfortable for you?" Or, "Is there a different way or time you'd prefer to approach this topic?" This empowers the other person by giving them agency in shaping the conversation, reducing their need for resistance. This final step is crucial because resistance often stems from feeling cornered or controlled. By offering choices about the timing, setting, or format of the discussion, you transform what felt like a threat into an invitation. Financial therapists have found that this 3-step approach works because it addresses the emotional undercurrents that drive resistance rather than focusing solely on the financial content. The key insight is that people aren't typically resisting the information itself. They're resisting how the conversation makes them feel. Another powerful technique financial therapists recommend is conversation pacing. The skill of knowing when to press forward with financial discussions and when to step back. This approach recognizes that productive money conversations often unfold in stages rather than in a single session. Think of conversation pacing like training for a marathon rather than sprinting. If someone shows signs of emotional overwhelm during a discussion about debt, it might be best to acknowledge the progress you've made and suggest continuing at another specific time. You might say, "We've covered a lot of ground today. Should we set aside time this weekend to talk about the next steps?" The key is being specific about when you'll revisit the conversation rather than leaving it open-ended. This prevents the topic from being permanently avoided while respecting the other person's emotional capacity in the moment. For particularly resistant conversation partners, consider reframing money as a tool rather than a taboo subject. Instead of diving directly into sensitive financial details, start with values-based questions that feel less threatening. What would financial peace of mind look like for you? Or, what role do you want money to play in our family's future? This approach works because it shifts the focus from potentially shame-inducing details like debt amounts or spending habits to aspirational goals that feel emotionally safer to discuss. By starting with shared values, you create common ground that makes subsequent conversations about specific numbers less threatening. Sometimes, despite your best efforts, someone remains firmly resistant to direct money conversations. In these cases, indirect approaches can be surprisingly effective. For example, watching a documentary about financial topics together or discussing a friend's money situation, while respecting privacy, can introduce financial concepts without the intensity of personal disclosure. These indirect approaches work by creating psychological distance that reduces defensiveness. When discussing someone else's financial situation or a hypothetical scenario, people often reveal their own money beliefs and concerns without feeling directly exposed. Creating a supportive environment for eventual financial discussions is another strategy that yields long-term results. Regular family check-ins about general topics can gradually incorporate financial elements as trust builds. These regular conversations help normalize money as just another topic worthy of discussion, rather than a special category surrounded by silence and shame. What's fascinating about resistance in money conversations is that the initial no often contains valuable information about the other person's financial history and beliefs. When someone strongly resists discussing a particular topic, like investment strategies or debt, that resistance itself can reveal where financial trauma or knowledge gaps might exist. By approaching resistance with curiosity rather than frustration, you transform what feels like an obstacle into an opportunity for deeper understanding. Instead of seeing resistance as a roadblock, view it as a signpost pointing toward important emotional territory that, when navigated carefully, can lead to the most meaningful financial breakthroughs. The most productive money conversations often emerge from initially resistant interactions because they force us to address the emotional foundations of financial behavior. When handled with empathy, these challenging moments can create stronger trust and more authentic communication than conversations that flow easily from the start. Building your money community, from isolation to support. Breaking through resistance with a single conversation partner is powerful. But what if you could amplify that impact with an entire network dedicated to your financial growth? Studies show people with designated money buddies are significantly more likely to achieve their financial goals than those navigating money matters alone. That's because financial isolation isn't just emotionally draining, it's financially limiting. While one-on-one money talks help break down individual barriers, creating a money community can transform your entire relationship with finances. Let's explore how to build this powerful support system that can multiply your financial knowledge and opportunities. A money community is essentially a trusted circle where you can discuss financial matters openly without fear of judgment. Unlike those awkward family dinners where money talk gets shut down, or the workplace where discussing salaries feels taboo, your money community exists specifically for financial transparency and growth. The contrast between financial isolation and collaborative problem-solving is stark. When facing money challenges alone, you're limited to your own knowledge and experience. But within a community, financial hurdles become collective puzzles where multiple perspectives lead to innovative solutions. Think about the last time you faced a financial roadblock, perhaps a confusing investment option or an unexpected expense. Imagine how different your approach might have been with 5 trusted advisors offering their insights and experiences. Building this type of community requires intentionality. Start by identifying potential members across different relationship types. The key is diversity of perspective. You want people with varied financial backgrounds and skills. Consider including a financially savvy friend who seems to have their investments figured out, a family member who shares similar financial values but brings different experiences, a colleague in your industry who understands your specific career challenges, a mentor who's achieved financial milestones you're working toward, someone younger who brings fresh perspectives about financial technologies and trends. This diverse group creates a well-rounded community where different financial strengths complement each other. The accountant in your network might excel at tax planning, while your entrepreneurial friend understands risk-taking. Together, they provide a more complete picture than any single advisor could offer. Establishing trust within your money community is crucial. The research shows several effective guidelines for building this foundation. Begin by being open about your own financial journey, including both successes and mistakes. This vulnerability creates psychological safety for others to share their experiences without fear of judgment. One powerful approach is reframing how you talk about money within the community. Rather than viewing it as a taboo subject or a measure of personal worth, discuss money as a tool for achieving goals and living according to your values. This subtle shift removes much of the emotional charge from financial discussions. Structured conversations help maintain momentum in your money community. Consider implementing regular money dates. Scheduled times when your community meets to discuss specific financial topics. These might be monthly gatherings where everyone brings a financial question or challenge for group discussion. The structure provides accountability while ensuring conversations remain productive rather than devolving into complaints or surface-level chatter. These gatherings can follow simple formats that yield powerful results. Try a round-robin approach where each person shares one financial win since the last meeting, one current financial challenge they're facing, one financial goal they're working toward. This format celebrates progress, provides immediate problem-solving opportunities, and maintains focus on forward momentum. It also ensures everyone participates equally rather than one or two voices dominating the conversation. For those unable to meet regularly in person, online financial communities offer valuable alternatives. Forums, social media groups, and specialized platforms provide spaces where people can share experiences, seek advice, and learn from diverse perspectives. These digital communities can supplement your core in-person group by broadening your exposure to different financial approaches and opportunities. The beauty of online communities is their accessibility. You can participate at convenient times and connect with people far beyond your geographic location. They're particularly valuable for specialized financial topics like real estate investing, entrepreneurship, or sustainable investing, where local expertise might be limited. What makes these communities truly transformative is how they help members overcome feelings of isolation and anxiety related to money. Financial stress often feels deeply personal, as if you're the only one struggling while everyone else has it figured out. A supportive community breaks that illusion by normalizing financial challenges and creating shared responsibility for growth. Consider the example of local financial literacy programs that bring together diverse participants. These programs emphasize cultural sensitivity while teaching practical skills around budgeting, saving, and investing. Participants often report that the community aspect, knowing they're not alone in their financial journey, is as valuable as the technical knowledge they gain. The Breaking Money Silence initiative demonstrates this impact by improving communication about money across generations. Participants report feeling more empowered in their financial decisions after engaging in supportive group discussions about money. The community approach creates a positive feedback loop where increased confidence leads to better financial decisions, which further strengthens confidence. To maximize the effectiveness of your money community, establish clear guidelines for participation and confidentiality. Financial information is deeply personal, so boundaries matter. Agree on what information stays within the group and how specific discussions will be approached. Some communities create formal agreements, while others operate on implied trust. Choose what works for your specific dynamic. Remember that your money community isn't static. It will evolve as members' financial situations and goals change. Someone focused on debt repayment today might become your investment accountability partner tomorrow. Allow the community to grow organically while maintaining its core purpose of financial transparency and support. The transformation that occurs when people move from financial isolation to community support is remarkable. Financial decisions that once felt overwhelming become manageable when discussed collectively. Knowledge gaps that seemed insurmountable are filled through shared experiences. And financial milestones that appeared distant become achievable through group accountability. Perhaps the most powerful aspect of a money community is how it changes your relationship with money itself. When financial matters become collaborative rather than isolating, money transforms from a source of stress to a shared tool for creating the life you want. The shame and secrecy that often surround finances dissolve in an environment of acceptance and growth. The money mindset shift from secrecy to strategy. That shift from openness in community settings unlocks something even more powerful, a complete rewiring of how you think about money at its core. When you treat money as something to strategize about openly rather than hide, you transform your entire financial trajectory. Research consistently shows people who approach finances strategically rather than secretively report not just higher satisfaction, but substantially higher net worth over time. Think about how different your financial life would look if you viewed money discussions as opportunities for growth instead of moments of judgment. This fundamental mindset shift moving from secrecy to strategy, might be the missing piece that transforms your entire financial future. Most of us were raised with the unspoken rule that money talk is inappropriate. We inherited beliefs like it's rude to discuss income or keep your financial struggles private. These cultural messages taught us to hide our financial reality, whether struggling or thriving. But what if this secrecy is the very thing holding us back? When you shift from hiding your money situation to strategically discussing it, you gain access to collective wisdom that accelerates your financial growth. Kathleen Burns Kingsbury, a wealth psychology expert, emphasizes that the more we learn to manage it, the less power it holds over us. This perfectly captures the transformation that happens when we move from secrecy to strategy. The secrecy mindset creates isolation where you face financial challenges alone, feeling that your struggles are unique and shameful. You make decisions based on limited information, often repeating the same mistakes because you lack exposure to alternative approaches. Your financial education comes primarily from trial and error, an expensive and slow way to learn. In contrast, the strategy mindset treats money as a neutral tool that can be optimized through open discussion and collective problem solving. You recognize that financial challenges are universal and solvable. Your decisions are informed by diverse perspectives and experiences. Most importantly, your financial education accelerates through collaborative learning rather than isolated mistakes. The difference between these mindsets isn't just philosophical. It shows up in tangible financial outcomes. Those who approach money strategically tend to have more diversified investments, lower interest rates on loans, higher savings rates, and greater overall financial resilience. They're more likely to seek professional advice when needed and to course-correct financial mistakes before they become devastating. Financial transparency doesn't mean sharing every detail of your finances with everyone you meet. Rather, it means being honest about where you stand, what you're learning, and what challenges you face with your trusted money community. This transparency replaces isolation with collaboration, turning money from a source of stress into a shared tool for creating the life you want. The power of narrative therapy, or financial storytelling, plays a crucial role in this mindset shift. This approach encourages you to reframe your money stories from ones of shame to ones of growth. Instead of "I'm terrible with money," your narrative becomes "I'm developing better money skills every day." Instead of "My family has always been poor," it becomes "I'm writing a new financial chapter for my family." Consider Alex, who grew up in a household where money was never discussed except during arguments. Money became associated with stress and conflict. As an adult, Alex avoided financial conversations and planning, leading to mounting credit card debt and minimal savings despite a good income. The turning point came when Alex joined a financial book club through a colleague's invitation. For the first time, Alex heard others openly discuss their financial mistakes and lessons learned. The shame began to dissolve. Alex realized that financial struggles weren't a personal failing, but a common experience that could be overcome with the right strategies and support. Within 18 months of this mindset shift, Alex had paid off all credit card debt, built an emergency fund, and started investing, all because money transformed from a source of shame to a subject for strategic thinking. Maya's story reveals another powerful transformation. Working as a teacher, Maya always felt her salary was fixed and unchangeable. The secrecy mindset kept her from exploring other income opportunities or negotiating her compensation. When she shifted to viewing her skills strategically, she began having open conversations about compensation with colleagues in similar roles at different schools. This led Maya to discover she was significantly underpaid. Armed with this knowledge and new confidence, she negotiated a 15% raise and started a summer tutoring business that now supplements her teaching income by 30%. Maya's financial trajectory completely changed not because her circumstances magically improved, but because her mindset shifted from accepting what she was given to strategically maximizing her financial potential. Financial trauma often lurks beneath the secrecy mindset. These unhealed financial wounds from childhood experiences can significantly impact how we relate to money as adults. Recognizing these patterns is crucial for healing and transforming your financial mindset. By bringing these traumas into the light through thoughtful conversations and financial education, you can begin to develop healthier financial behaviors. The beauty of this mindset shift is that it's accessible to anyone, regardless of income level, background, or current financial situation. You don't need special skills or knowledge to begin, just the willingness to start viewing money differently. This shift starts small, perhaps with a single conversation where you choose openness instead of secrecy, or by questioning a limiting money belief you've always held. As you practice this new mindset, you'll notice changes beyond just your financial situation. Many people report reduced anxiety, improved relationships, and a greater sense of personal agency. The liberation from financial secrecy often spills over into other areas of life, creating more authentic connections and reducing the mental load of maintaining appearances. The transformation happens gradually as you replace old patterns with new ones. You might start by simply acknowledging your financial reality to yourself without judgment, then progress to discussing it with one trusted person. Eventually, you'll find yourself comfortable strategizing openly with your money community, seeking advice when needed, and offering support to others on their journeys. This shift doesn't happen overnight. It's a practice you develop over time, with occasional setbacks and moments of discomfort. When you catch yourself hiding financial information out of shame or avoiding money conversations, gently remind yourself of the benefits of strategic openness. Each time you choose strategy over secrecy, you strengthen this new mindset. Some practical ways to cultivate this mindset include joining or creating a money community where financial topics are discussed openly and supportively. Read books and listen to podcasts that normalize financial conversations. Practice talking about money in low-stakes situations before addressing more challenging topics. Most importantly, be compassionate with yourself as you unlearn deeply ingrained patterns of financial secrecy. As we wrap up today's journey through money conversations, remember that transparency isn't just about financial gains. It's about creating authentic connections in every relationship you value. Studies reveal that 65% of Americans believe financial openness leads to better outcomes. Yet most people still avoid these crucial discussions with those closest to them. The silence around money matters costs us more than dollars. It costs us peace of mind and growth opportunities. When we begin breaking down these barriers, we create ripple effects that extend far beyond our bank accounts. As wealth psychology expert Kathleen Burns-Kingsbury points out, healthy financial conversations often don't exist in many cultures, limiting our potential for growth. By choosing to initiate these conversations today, you're not just improving your own financial trajectory. You're helping create supportive communities where money talk becomes normal, not taboo. The courage to speak openly about finances might feel uncomfortable at first, but it's this discomfort that signals meaningful change.
Your turn. Finding
Today,
your digital
you can be the
product
one who
gold
breaks
mine.
the cycle of silence.
You might be thinking, that's great for you, but what hidden skill am I supposed to monetize? The most surprising part of my journey wasn't learning how to sell digital products. It was discovering that the Excel skills I used every day at my boring desk job were worth thousands to other people. What everyday ability are you taking for granted that others would gladly pay to access? Here's the thing. We all have skills that feel ordinary to us because we use them daily. But that's exactly what makes them valuable. You've already put in the 10,000 hours to master something that others find challenging. The first step to finding your digital product goldmine is conducting a complete skill inventory. Grab a notebook and list everything you know how to do, from professional skills to personal hobbies, and rate your proficiency from 1 to 10. Don't overthink it. Sometimes the skills you rank as a modest 7 are exactly what the market is hungry for. To identify marketable skills, individuals should conduct a skill inventory, listing everything they know how to do and rating their proficiency. This exercise often reveals surprising opportunities hiding in plain sight. But I already know what you're thinking. I don't have any special skills worth selling. I hear this all the time, and it's almost never true. Remember, you don't need to be the world's foremost expert. You just need to know more than the people who need help. Consider what friends, family, or colleagues regularly ask for your help with. Do you find yourself repeatedly explaining the same processes? Do coworkers come to you for guidance with certain tasks? These patterns are golden clues pointing to your marketable expertise. Another objection I often hear is, my industry is already too competitive. Yes, the digital product space continues to grow, with transaction values expected to reach $6.62 trillion in 2024. But this massive figure doesn't signal saturation. It reveals enormous opportunity. The key is finding your unique angle within that market. While general Excel courses might face fierce competition, your specialized knowledge of Excel for veterinary clinic management or fitness trainer client tracking could be a virtually untapped niche. Let me share a framework that helped me evaluate my skills more objectively. Ask yourself these questions. 1. What processes do you automate or streamline that others do manually? 2. What tasks take you minutes that seem to take others hours? 3. What knowledge do you possess that consistently surprises people in conversation? 4. What systems have you created that others have complemented or borrowed? These questions reveal the disconnect between what you perceive as basic knowledge and what others consider valuable expertise. Now let's talk about the 3 digital product types that work exceptionally well for beginners. Common digital product types that work well for beginners include templates, guides, and mini courses. These formats are accessible to creators and can be tailored to meet specific audience needs, making them ideal for those just starting out. Templates are fantastic first products because they're relatively quick to create and immediately useful to customers. These pre-built frameworks save users time while ensuring professional results. Think beyond traditional Excel. Templates can work for anything from Instagram content calendars to meal planning systems or project management trackers. Guides solve specific problems through clear, step-by-step instructions. The key is extreme specificity, not how to use Photoshop, but how to create eye-catching real estate listing photos in Photoshop. This targeted approach attracts motivated buyers who need immediate solutions. Mini courses offer more comprehensive learning, but remain focused on achieving specific outcomes. They're less intimidating to create than full courses and can be priced accessibly, while still generating significant income. A 30-minute tutorial on setting up automated email responses that convert leads could be worth $29 to $49 to the right audience. You might be surprised by the skills that translate beautifully into digital products. Consider this case study. A successful case study involves a teacher who created math game templates for educators, generating $4,000 monthly by addressing a specific need for engaging educational content. This demonstrates how leveraging existing skills can lead to profitable digital products. This teacher didn't create advanced calculus curricula. She simply packaged her classroom games into downloadable templates, solving a universal pain point for fellow educators. The success came not from the complexity of her knowledge, but from her understanding of what would truly help her audience. Other everyday skills with excellent digital product potential include cooking, meal prep templates, specialized diet guides, organization, home inventory systems, moving checklists, writing, email templates, proposal frameworks, fitness, workout trackers, progress journals, tech, troubleshooting guides, software setup instructions. The key is identifying skills that help people save time, reduce stress, or save money. These are the 3 core value propositions that drive digital product sales. Once you've identified a promising skill, your next steps are straightforward. First, validate your product idea through market research. To start monetizing skills, individuals should first validate their product ideas through market research, ensuring there is demand for their offerings. This can involve keyword research, analyzing competitor products, and gathering feedback from potential customers. This validation step is crucial. It's what would have saved me from my first failed product launch. Search for relevant keywords on platforms like Etsy or Gumroad to gauge demand. Join Facebook groups or subreddits where your target audience gathers and note recurring questions or pain points. Next, create a simple first product that solves one specific problem exceptionally well. Remember, simplicity is your friend here. Your first product doesn't need bells and whistles. It needs to deliver a clear, immediate benefit. Consider starting with a free lead magnet to build your audience. A lead magnet, which is a free piece of content offered in exchange for contact information, can help build an audience and establish trust before launching paid products. When pricing your products, focus on the value provided rather than hours invested. When pricing digital products, creators should consider factors such as production costs, perceived value, and competitor pricing. A value-based pricing model focuses on the benefits provided to customers, allowing for higher profit margins. Think about the time your product saves, the stress it eliminates, or the money it helps earn or save, and price accordingly. A template that saves a business owner 3 hours each week could easily justify a $49 price tag, even if it only took you 5 hours to create. Now imagine where you could be in just 1 year. My journey from $150 to over $5,000 monthly happened within 12 months. And I started with absolutely no following or established platform. With focused effort on creating solutions to real problems, you could potentially replace your full-time income with digital products that require minimal ongoing maintenance. The most powerful realization I've had on this journey is that we're all sitting on valuable knowledge that others would gladly pay for. The skills you've developed through years of education, work experience, and problem solving are assets that can be transformed into income streams. Digital products allow you to package that knowledge once and sell it infinitely, breaking free from the limitations of trading time for money. What seems obvious now was a major insight that changed everything. Having multiple income streams isn't just smart, it's essential in today's economy. The research confirms what I discovered through experience. 52% of young Americans feel their income isn't keeping pace with inflation, and 44% cite inflation as their top financial concern. The real freedom isn't just in my bank account, though paying off debt and building savings feels amazing. It's in knowing I'm not at the mercy of a single paycheck or employer. As financial expert Matt Schultz puts it, having multiple sources of income can be good because it gives you a bit of a safety net. Your journey might look different from mine, but the core principles work for anyone. Identify an overlooked skill, package it into solutions people willingly pay for, and build systems that generate income while you're sleeping, working, or living your life. What skill are you taking for granted right now that could become your own financial game changer? Drop it in the comments. I'll help you spot the opportunity